Well, today from Hunkydory, we have 5 of these pocket pads. Now, they are almost 3 inches by a little over 4 inches. They have 150 pages in them, and as I said, we've got 5 themes, and I've got some fun projects. In fact, this is one of them. Look at that little bunny. Won't you please come play with us? Well, let me tell you what the topics are. This is classic transport, amazing embroidery, that's where the bunny came from, Ready, Teddy, Go, the fairy garden, and birth flowers. So that's kind of the sequence that we're going to do them. And each time I will show you all of the sheets that are involved, so that way there's no surprises. Now, here is the first card. As you can see, this is a slimline, and this is using the transport, classic transport. So you can see the sailboat and the lighthouse is going to be on the front. On the inside, we're doing hot air balloons. But the other art that's included, and again, you're going to get 4 of each one. We have a very fun racing car, or I'm not sure what kind it is, but you get the idea, motorcycle. And we've got a VW bus, we've got a topper, we've got sailboat, we have horizontal airplane, and an old airplane and a more modern, a tractor. And we've got a carriage, and you see we just span all of the eras. There is a train, obviously, a streetcar, motorcycle, and a bicycle. That's very good. And finally, an old car. So again, it is classic transport. And the way that Heidi did this, like I said, she used the slimline card. We're going to get in closer so you can really see what's going on. And although the little pads just have the art, that really lets you kind of go through the papers and so forth, the things that you have. So what Heidi elected to do is she knew she needed some solid colors, so she went to At the Shore, and you can see there's browns and teals and blues and some kind of orangey. And so she cut a piece of the blue and glued it to the front of her card, so it's right there. By the way, the measurements are down in the instructions. I really hesitate to give them to you as we're moving forward, because it's just too much verbiage to to really absorb. But you can see that that's just smaller than our 8 by 3 inch slimline card, and we do have those. Now, I said 8. It's 8.5 by 3.5. That happens to be the item number. It's going to come with cards and envelopes together, just to make that super, super easy. And what she did is then she put a lighter blue from the same At the Shore. And notice it goes clear to the edges. So this one is smaller than the card. This is the same length as the card. Then she added some dazzles, and she started with these fancy border dazzles. This is the primary set. It's going to have green, it's going to have this blue. And there are 12 sheets in this package, so lots of options for you. You can see that she used a big one in the middle, and then some of these scallops on the edges. And then she did add some of our jewel dazzles, the circles that into the centers of them. Now, she also needed to have a foundation for this piece. And what I thought was interesting is that she took 2 of these. Now, you have 4, but she took 2 of them. She wanted it a little bigger. So she took one, cut it in half, and glued each end behind this piece. So does that help? Okay, so there you can see that's the actual size of this, but she wanted to extend it to make it bigger. And I thought that was really clever. So she just cut it in half and glued each end behind this piece. So it just extended out the horizon and that little part that the lighthouse is on. So that worked out nicely. She did mat it onto the tan that's out of this solid cardstock that I showed you. And she also took another of the images and cut out the sailboat and the lighthouse and foam taped that over the matching art. Then this piece was foam taped on top of her card. Now to add her greeting, the greeting that she chose is happy thoughts, simple joys, and those come out of the Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle sheet. So there's just a ton of them on this one sheet, all in black. And then on the inside of her card, that's where I said she's going to use that hot air balloons. And in that, she first did that tan piece and made it fit just a little bit smaller than the inside of her card. This is more of those fancy border dazzles, this time in blue. And then she cut this piece a little bit smaller to fit. I think that's a 4-inch square, matted it on the blue and attached it at an angle. And then she did cut out some of the other balloons. So these two and this one by itself, and then she cut out this one again. Foam taped those in place, added the jeweled dazzles, and life is good is the message that she has in that set. There is our first card, just adding some solids and some dazzles. Can't go wrong with that. I think this is just charming. I guess you need to get it back a little bit. This is from the Ready Teddy Go. Now, this is what Teddy does. He's going to go on a hike, and then inside is going to be camping for the evening. But let me show you the other greeting, or the other images. So here's one. Let me scoot this over. You can see him on a motorcycle, on a bicycle. And these are, of course, printed on one side. Soccer, guitar, hot air balloon. It's always fun to have that multiple color ones. A little graduate, space teddy, and a skateboard petty, and a going on a walk with the camera, a little Dr. Teddy. Then we have a sailing teddy, and a traveling in a car, and by airplane. So all of those are part of this. Again, you get 4 of each. So let me show you what she did. Now again, this sets the scene of which one she wants to use. So what is more perfect than going to At the Lake, a collection of papers. So At the Lake 12 by 12, and you can see right with all of those thumbnail sketches of the papers that there's scenes there. So she's going to use that very effectively. Also At the Lake die cuts. And At the Lake solid. You can see all those blues and greens. So let me set that aside. And the first thing she did was to take her 5 by 6.5 inch card, and she cut out this kind of scene and then matted it on the dark green solid, glued that to her card front. Now this little guy right here, and he's going to get matted on the same green, and then he's foam taped on top just at an angle. So it just looks like he's kind of taken off. The Go to the Lake, no sand, and it's great. That's one of the die cuts, and she has glued it just so it's kind of tucked under this little piece. And then Another Great Day with You, that is also one of the die cuts. It's glued here and foam taped there. Now the bow, as Heidi always does, is done with the help of the bow maker from Hunkydory. And this time, this is using the 1/8 inch ribbons. So quite a collection of colors there. And that's zotted in place. Now the inside of her card is going to get covered with the brown solid At the Lake. And then this is our little guy who is going to go on top of this paper. Now this is, again, one of the scenes from the At the Lake paper, 12 by 12 papers, cut down smaller than the card inside, glued flat. She did the same thing, took him, matted him on this tan solid cardstock, foam taped him at an angle, which I think is fun. And then Lakeside with You, Relax and Reflect, those are foam taped and glued inside the card. Little brown 1/8 inch bow right there. And just absolutely charming. Just really, really sweet. Lots of course, you've got all those extra toppers to use inside using more of At the Lake. Now, Heidi lives in Wisconsin, and going to the lake is something she's really familiar with, so I'm sure that resonated well with her. Now, our next card is coming from the fairy garden. So there it is. And these are a little different in that, let me pull these out. So this card, I guess I should start with that, shouldn't I? So this card is a center step card. It's done with this cutting die, so it's going to be one die, one piece. I'm going to turn this over where the directions are, and you can see it tells you how to fold it and also gives you the written instructions. So pretty easy to do. And you know what? That wasn't true. I am so sorry. I pulled the wrong thing. This is, you know what? I'm going to be right back. I'll go get it. Now this card comes from the fairy garden, and it has a very vintage look to it. So let me show you. Here is the card, the art that she used on the front. However, she also used these on the front, and I will show you how she did that. Let's see. And that one. These are two that she used on the inside. But then the others are these. So like I said, they have a very vintage look. And they also have some text around them, some mushrooms, in this case, some flowers. Just really lovely. And again, you get 4 of each. Isn't that pretty? So, and I think they're all vertical. There you go. So pretty much pink and green are the colors that are being used. Now, what Heidi used is the center step die cut cards and envelopes, comes 5 of each. There's also a sheet in here that gives you the patterns for cutting the paper, should you want those. I don't know that you really need that in this one, but just in case you know it's there. So this is what it looks like. We also have a cutting die that is a center step. And so if this is a style that you love, this might be a good investment. So I'm going to take this, and like I said, she created her own background. Yeah, we can get in even a little bit closer. You can, well, maybe not that close. Okay, there you go. So let me just show you how she did it. Card, let's see. The one that she uses on the front is this one, but there's 4 of those, as you know. And what she did, I'm gonna leave the card next to me so I can do that. So this went up here. So she used these to create her own background. And this kind of went like that. And this one went like that to cover, and then she used another one of these right here and just put glue down, placed all of these, and then just trimmed them to fit. Okay, can you see that? How that paper clip is there and right here, and her feet are right there. So it's just, you can use any of them, or you could use a solid cardstock, whatever you like, but I thought that was very clever. Thank you, Heidi. Then she took this little girl and matted her on 2 golds. Now the first gold that Heidi used is the marigold from Hunkydory, and so it has about an 1/8 of an inch of a border. And then she did a double mat onto the gold glitter, and it too has about the same 1/8 of an inch. So simply did that double border, and then she used the pink ribbon, and this is out of the 1/4 inch glimmer ribbon. So you can see all of these have a shine to them. Hopefully you're seeing that on the ribbon. And she just wrapped it crisscross and then foam taped this piece to the card front, and then she did a bow. Now when she does bows, I forgot to tell this to you on the Ready Teddy, or maybe I did tell you, always uses the bow maker. Just want to make sure, full disclosure here, and then zodded that in place. And she did accent this with the gold and silver pearls from Hunkydory. You can see lots of different sizes, so she's got 2 there. And then keeping that gold, because you just used it as a mat, she cut 2 pieces to fit onto the sides of the card, as you can see. Measurements, again, are down below. Just click on the card and you'll see it. The missing you, and isn't that pretty? That comes from our We're Together Dazzles. Now, this set has 2 sheets in it. Sometimes the greetings are stacked, like Missing You, and on the other sheet, they're in one line. So you just have a couple of options there. So that worked nicely. Now, for the inside of her card, she did something interesting again. So we've got this piece of that gold glitter, but then this is being made with these 2. So you can see this little girl over here. She's in the middle, but then she extended it by taking another one of this sheet, I believe, and gluing it here. So you have a piece of cardstock that is going to be this long, and I think it's almost 3 inches tall. And you're just going to put, again, adhesive on it, and then layer those in place and trim off the excess. The ribbon is from that same ribbon set. And you can see it's just a shiny, and of course this is a green one, so crisscrossed it and dotted a bow on top. Thinking of You, that's an example of the second sheet in the We're Together, where it's in one line. On the first sheet, it's stacked. We've got 2 more of the pearls, and that takes care of it. Now, it's nice because the envelopes are included in that pack of center step cards, so that works nicely. Okay, this is going to be using out of the birth flowers. Now let me pull that out so you can see it. Birth flowers right there. So there's going to be obviously all of the months. And let me show you. This is what she used on the front of her card. And then there are these inside it too. So this is October, November, December. Obviously, they're all the months. And it just gives you a little bit of information about the flower and you know, what it is, because that's the flower of the month, in this case for November. So that's what she used. And she paired this with the Poppies 6x6 pad, but let me show you all the other flowers. So in no particular order, here we go. Pansies. So these are also single-sided, and you have the same 150 of them with 4 of each. So you've got a lot of colors in this one. And then you're going to have the other months of the flowers and giving you information. Violet goes with February, cherry blossom with March, and there you go. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now what Heidi did is she took her 5 by 6.5 inch card and cut it down to 5 inches. And she placed the fold at the top, and then she just cut 1 inch off the front, okay? So you have this piece, and then she did the corners with the 3-in-1 corner rounder. So this little punch, and you can see on the punch itself, it has some numbers, some identifiers for each of the punches that it does. So R10 is going to make this curve, R4 makes that curve, R7 makes just a smaller curve. And obviously you can see that she used the larger one, and she did just punch the left-hand side of her card. She has it closed and used the punch on that side. So that made that easier for her. Then she took this and matted it on a piece of white cardstock, and then scooted it right to the edge, and then punched again the left-hand side only. So that became her card top. Now the happy birthday, that is part of the Tiny Words and Phrases. Now this is a set that has 6 sheets in it. It's got brown, blue, green, red, yellow, and black. There are 460 pieces in here, and this is the brown sheet that Heidi used. So happy birthday is right there. out of the yellow ribbon pack, she made her bow and dotted it right there. Then inside her card, another piece of the poppies. And she wanted to be careful that she had a decorative element here, but that she also made it so it would only be shown when the card is closed and that everything else is covered up. So this is the little part of the little pocket pad that's been matted on white and just glued there. Another little bow at the top. Celebrate is coming from the Tiny Words and Phrases. And this comes from the Fancy Border Dazzles, which has all of those colors to it. And I showed you that in the beginning where we had it with the travel one. And so here it is again. I'm showing you the green on top, but obviously there is yellow. So that took care of that. So just a very interesting shaped card. Now this will fit in the, of course, the envelopes that come with the cards. It's just a different size. So that will take care of that. Now, when I was sending all of these to Heidi, I forgot to include one. So I quickly asked Debbie yesterday if she would make another card, and God bless the woman, she did. And look at it. Now this is from the Amazing Embroidery, and I think this is really interesting what this art looks like. So let me show you. Let's see, this is what Debbie used. So there you see that absolutely charming bunny. She also used a deer that's inside. Isn't that cute, little Bambi? And a fox. And I don't even want to think about the fox and the bunny together, but okay. Other inside this one, so let me just show you. We have just a beautiful bird and swan. So everything, these are photographs of embroidered pieces. Lighthouse, they are stunning. Someone's put a lot of time and effort into that. And I'm glad we can share it with you. Owl, the bird, butterfly on top of those flowers. Hot air balloon. We have a lot of hot air balloons, don't we? There. Oh, we have a unicorn, a bee, and a gorgeous tiger. Okay, so those are all of the imagery inside there. But let me get into this card because Debbie did some really interesting things. So let me just open it for you. So it's going to open on the fold is over here. And then we have a little bunny, and we have our deer, and then we have a pocket with our fox. Okay, so let me show you what she did. She used 2 cards. Now the first card is our 5 by 6.5 inch, so she trimmed it to 6 inches and cut the front flap in half. So that is going to make this piece, okay? Then for this piece, which I thought was really, really clever, so she took another card and laid it flat. Okay, here's the card laid flat, and cut 5.5 inches. That way the score's already made, and 5 inches long, just like that. Clever woman, love it. Then this, I'm going to put glue down here. I use extra sticky tape, but I think Debbie just used Cosmic Shimmer glue, and attach that to the center along that edge. So what's going to happen is that this is going to get covered up with paper. This is going to get closed, and then this goes on top, just like that. So simply 2 cards, super, super easy and brilliant. Now, she wanted to use the papers out of, and it's really just a perfect title, Wildflowers and Wildlife. Don't you love it? And so she used the 6 by 6. She also used the die cuts, and she also used the solid. You can see those pinks and different colors in there. Okay, so let's start from the front of the card, which is this piece. So she covered it with the leaves, 6 by 6, and then she did some inking using the khaki. Okay, full disclosure, I wrote the directions. I saw that she had khaki on there, but I realized after I sent them off that I forgot to talk about applying it. So just you know that khaki was applied with a blending brush or a blending tool just to the edges, okay? Sorry about that. Then she took the little charming bunny and matted him on light pink and then on the dark pink. So again, you can see those colors are all beautifully represented in our Wildflowers and Wildlife solid cardstock. That gets glued in place. Then then Debbie, let me show you, I hope you can see, she cut out another bunny head and the bunny paws, this is one piece, and foam taped them on top of the matching art. And isn't that bow just charming? That's out of the light pink ribbon set. And she did use our pink border dazzles and just put them at the top and the bottom. So that took care, so that kind of sets the stage, our little bunny in the embroidered forest, but also in the paper forest. Now we're going to open this up, and then right here, this is on the back of that flap, again, the green, and we left this, or she left this, just glued it on 3 sides. That way it becomes a pocket, did the same border, and matted him on the light pink, solid Wildflowers and Wildlife, and tucked him in. This circle and Be Happy are out of the die cuts. This is glued and this is foam taped. Super easy. Now, I want to just notice that this border continues, even though it's 2 different pieces, visually it's one unit, and that border continues and the size of it continues. So that's always a smart move. So she covered this with the gingham and then cut a smaller piece of the green leaf, did the border dazzles. This is out of the die cuts. Flip that open. Isn't that a nice touch? I appreciated that. This is out of one of the 6x6 papers. It's actually the first one in the package. It's just the border of it. Along the border, just cut that. It's about 1 inch wide. Again with the gingham, again with the leaf, again with the border. Our little sweet little deer gets matted exactly like our bunny did on light pink and then dark pink in there. Brighter Days are here. That's one of the cutouts from the 6x6 papers. And so we simply close it this way and close it this way, and that ends our webisode. So that is the last one. And thank you, Debbie, for being such a good trooper. I really appreciate it. So once again, we have all of these. So we started with the classic transport. Nice to have something a little masculine, the Ready, Teddy, Go set. Then we did the fairy garden. Then we did the birthday flowers, and we finished with the amazing embroidery. So really, really fun. So as you can see, with 150 sheets, there's a lot you can do. So 300, 600, 750 sheets in this collection. It is over in the Money Saver on the right side of your screen. So if you'd like them, they are sold separately, of course, as is all the other product. If you are watching us on YouTube, we'd appreciate if you would subscribe and head on over to paperwishes.com, because we are, I believe, the only company who not only will offer you products, but we will also give you ideas for how to use it. And we think that's just a win-win proposition all the way around. The instructions are down below. Just click on those. And I want to thank Heidi for a lovely job that she did, and Debbie for bailing me out at the last moment. What a woman you are. And I want to thank you most of all for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.